I do know she's 22 years old and handled all this noise better than most of us would at 42.
Iowa's WH13 News has sparked some buzz by stepping in to defend Caitlin Clark, and it's catching the attention of the basketball community. But why does Times Athlete of the Year need defending? The reason might surprise you. Original clip. Stay with us as we break down this important story. In this video, we'll explain why Iowa's support for Caitlin Clark is making a big impact and revealing the unfair criticism she's faced. We'll show you how the local news in Iowa is stepping up as a strong voice, challenging the backlash around her award. Plus, we'll discuss why Caitlin's many supporters need to speak out to defend this sports icon. Let's get started.
Time magazine names Iowa's Caitlin Clark Athlete of the Year. Clark follows Lionel Messi, Aaron Judge, and Simone Biles. No unbiased person sees this as a controversial choice.
Picture this, a local news story shaking up the basketball world. WH13, an Iowa news station, has spoken out about the Caitlin Clark controversy, and it's making waves. But why did a local outlet feel the need to step in and defend their hometown hero?
Clark is the main reason women's basketball exploded in popularity. She again won National Player of the Year at Iowa while setting the NCAA career and tournament records for points and leading the Hawkeyes back to the Final Four. A week later, the Fever drafted Clark number 1. She led the league in threes, set single and season records for assists, got the Fever back to the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, and won Rookie of the Year.
Here's the deal. Ever since Time named Caitlin Clark Athlete of the Year, she's faced a lot of criticism, with people questioning if she really earned the title. But WH13 wasn't having it. They stepped in to set the record straight, highlighting her amazing accomplishments, from being named National Player of the Year to breaking NCAA records for points in both career and tournament play. Caitlin led the Hawkeyes all the way to the Final Four. These aren't just impressive stats, they're history-making.
Many of the people giving hot takes didn't actually read it, just like some responding to this commentary won't actually watch it.
But it's not just about the stats. The article dives deeper, directly addressing the criticisms. One major point critics have raised is that Caitlin Clark's success is a result of privilege, trying to downplay her accomplishments. But the article turns that argument around. It also tackles the idea that celebrating Clark somehow diminishes other players. They make a bold comparison, pointing out that Clark isn't the first to bring attention to a sport people may have overlooked. They even draw parallels to icons like Michael Jordan and Serena Williams. This strong statement really puts Clark's impact into perspective.
Most viewed WNBA player page and the most viewed college player page. 50 out of 50 states at Iowa and 50 for 50 Fever. She's the face of women's basketball. Clark's impact on attendance and television ratings is, relatively speaking, unlike anything we've seen. In college, virtually all games sold out. In the pros, games moved to bigger arenas. So why would anyone have a problem with Clark winning Time Athlete of the Year?
So how is this article shifting the conversation? It's acting as a voice of reason amidst all the criticism, urging people to step back and fully appreciate what Clark has accomplished for women's basketball. The article ends with a call to action, encouraging readers to acknowledge Clark's impact and the positive changes she's making in the sport.
Clark is not the first to make people care about a sport they had previously ignored. Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, and Simone Biles all move the needle. They have something in common, too. Talent, dedication, and that special something, the it factor. In and out of the league appreciate Caitlin Clark. That number should only grow for Time's deserving Athlete of the Year.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about defending Clark. It's about challenging the way we talk about women's sports overall. The article suggests that there's a quiet majority who supports Clark, and that group is only going to
Sport, at its best, is a meritocracy. Clark's logo threes, creative passes, and unquantifiable charisma made her a generational star. On the court, her emotions can get the best of her. Off it, she's been admirably composed.
So, is the Clark controversy over? Not at all. In fact, this article is just the beginning of a much bigger conversation. While Iowa News is speaking out, there are still some unexpected voices staying silent, and that silence is about to make a big impact.
Well, Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson tells CNN it's race. Johnson suggests putting the whole league on the Time cover could have prevented hard feelings.
Remember when being named Athlete of the Year was a huge moment of celebration for Caitlin Clark? For her, it's turned into a storm of criticism. But the real shock isn't just what's being said, it's who's saying it. As we dive deeper into this controversy, we're about to uncover some uncomfortable truths.
Clark elevated a 28-year-old league to relevance it had never approached. You would think that would be appreciated, especially by an owner who had nearly a third of her team's home attendance come from two Fever games.
She's also receiving pushback from within the WNBA. Sheila Johnson, the owner of the Washington Mystics, recently shared her thoughts, saying that the attention on Clark's success is overshadowing the achievements of Black players in the league. Johnson expressed her disappointment, pointing out that many talented players of color have never received the recognition they deserve.
If being great at basketball and white was all the WNBA needed, Breanna Stewart and many other all-stars that came before Clark had qualifications. Do some people gravitate towards someone from their own demographic? Of course. Shohei Ohtani, Coco Gauff, and Nikola Jokic all bring new fans to their sports, just as Clark does.
Johnson didn't stop with just that. She went on to suggest that Time magazine should have featured the entire WNBA on its cover instead of focusing solely on Clark. She questioned, why not put the whole WNBA on the cover and say the league is the year's best because of all the talent we have? Her comments are stirring up strong reactions and sparking important conversations about representation in sports.
Did not say she didn't deserve to win or apologize for being white. She said she's earned every single thing, which she has, and added, quote, as a white person, there is privilege. Now you can agree or disagree, but Caitlin's entitled to her opinion too.
Here's where things get even more interesting. Clark herself spoke about race and privilege in her Time interview. Some critics argue that she shouldn't have brought these topics up, saying she should have just accepted the award without commenting on race. Meanwhile, others are applauding her for addressing these tough issues head-on. It seems like no matter what Clark says or does, she can't please everyone.
I don't know what Caitlin Clark's politics are, and I don't need to know. I just love watching her play basketball.
So, how will Clark handle all this criticism? It's a tricky situation. On one hand, she's being recognized for her amazing accomplishments. On the other, she's facing pushback from within the league she's part of. Her remarks about race and privilege are sparking controversy, but they're also starting important discussions about representation in women's basketball. Here's the thing, even though the criticism is loud, Clark isn't facing it alone. Some influential voices are speaking out in her defense, and their support could make a big difference. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We really appreciate you watching. Now, let's dive back in.
Best basketball player, female player on the planet, and getting everybody into women's sports and women's basketball.
A surprising turn, some of the biggest names in sports are stepping up to defend Caitlin Clark, raising an interesting question. Why are these established stars backing a newcomer in professional basketball? As the criticism toward Clark grew, legends from various sports began to speak out in her defense. Olympic medalist Gabby Thomas didn't just tweet support. She fiercely stood up for Clark on social media. When Riley Gaines criticized Clark, Thomas fired back, telling her to sit this one out. Tennis icon Chris Evert also weighed in, saying Clark earned the award through her talent and impact on and off the court. Most recently, Serena Williams shared her support, saying the negativity came from those who couldn't do what Clark does. Williams also opened up about facing similar criticism early in her own career. What's really striking is how these sports legends are willing to risk backlash to stand by Clark, putting their own reputations on the line to show she deserves recognition for both her skills and influence in basketball.
She is in a no-win situation. No win. What? She didn't even say anything that inflammatory. It's the first time she ever spoke, and everyone's like, who supported her before?
This support for Caitlin Clark goes beyond just defending her. It's sending a powerful message about recognizing talent and hard work, no matter someone's background or the sport they play. These sports icons are using their influence to challenge the narrative around Clark, and by extension, how we view success in women's sports. But here's the twist. This high-profile backing isn't just shifting the conversation about Clark. It's encouraging us to rethink how we celebrate and critique athletes, especially women. These legends are essentially saying, "We've been through it. We know what it takes